Hey guys, in the last video we took care of our fields file. Alright, so we can now add videos and they'll get saved in the back end. So what we need to do now is work on the front end display, which we're gonna be using shortcodes to do that. Alright, so let's go to the YouTube vid gallery shortcodes.php file. Okay, so let's open up our PHP tags and we want to list videos. So I'm going to create a function and we'll call it yvg underscore list videos, and that's going to take a couple parameters. We're going to have our attributes and content, which is initially going to be set to null. One other thing we want to do is declare our global post variable. So I'm going to say global post. Alright, and then the attributes, I'm going to say @, and what we're going to do is set some default values for our attributes. So we're going to say shortcode underscore @, and then in here we're going to pass in an array, and that's going to have a bunch of values. Okay, the first thing is going to be the title. Oops. And that's going to be video gallery. Let's pass in a count, which by default we'll set to 20. And we want to be able to define a category if we want. But initially, we're going to set this to all. Alright, and then we need to have our @s variable actually as a second parameter here. Okay, so that's that. Now what we're going to do is check categories. So we want to see if someone inputs a category with the shortcode. Alright, so it would be something like videos category equals whatever, programming, something like that. If they don't, and it's just videos, then we're not going to limit by category or anything like that. Alright, so we'll say if, and in here we want to pass in @s, and we want the category attribute. So @s category, if it's equal to all, which it is by default, then we're just going to set terms to nothing. Okay, and then we're going to say else. Okay, if there is a category, we're going to set terms to an array, and that's actually going to hold another array. Oops. Alright, so in here we want to say taxonomy, set that to category. We want to set field, we're going to set that to slug, and finally we have terms, whoops, which is going to be set to the category attribute. Whoops, so we want to say @s category. Alright, so that's that. And then we're going to go after this closing bracket, and we're going to have our query arguments. Oops. Okay, so we'll set a variable called args. I'm going to set it to an array. Okay, first is going to be the post type, which we'll set to video. We want to set post status. That's going to be set to publish. Okay, we only want to show published posts or published videos. Let's set order by, and that's going to be created, and then the order itself is going to be ascending. Okay, then we're going to say posts per page, and that's going to be equal to whatever the count attribute is. So we want to say ats and we count. Alright, and then this is where we want to specify our taxonomy. So this is going to be called tax query, and we're going to set that to that terms variable. Okay, so if it's not, or if it is equal to all, which is the default, so if they don't put in a category, it's going to be just nothing. Alright, so it's not going to actually limit by the category. Alright, so let's just fix this up. Okay, so that's the args. Now we want to use WP query to fetch the videos. Oops. Okay, so for that we're gonna say videos is gonna equal new WP underscore query, and of course we need to pass in the arguments. Alright, so that's gonna get it for us. Now we want to check to see if any come back. Okay, so to do that we'll have our if statement, and we're going to say if videos have posts, okay, then that means that there are actually some videos. Let's do an else here as well, because if there's none found, then we're just going to spit out a paragraph. Alright, so we're going to return and we're just going to say no videos found. Okay, if there are videos, then we want to start to build our output. Let's first create a variable for the category, and that's going to come from the attribute, but we want to make sure that if there's any spaces, where we want to convert it to a dash. Alright, so to do that we can use str underscore replace for string replace. And the first parameter is going to be what we want to replace it with, which will be a dash. Second is going to be what we want to replace, which will be a space. And finally we need the category attribute. Okay, and then let's go ahead and just initialize an output variable. So we'll say output equals nothing. Okay, and then we're going to build the output. So if we want to append to it, we're going to use dot equals instead of replacing it. Alright, and this is just going to be a div with the class, and let's give it, oops, I'm sorry, we don't want the closing div, and we want this to be called video list. Alright, and then down here we're going to add the ending tag. Alright, now in between here we're going to want to loop through each video and then display it. Okay, so first thing, let's get get field values. Okay, so we're going to get video ID, and to get that we can use get post meta, which we've used in the past, and we're going to pass in post ID and then the field name, which is going to be video ID, and we're going to set it to true. And then we want the details, which will be the same way. Okay, now we're going to continue with the output. So we're going to append. We're going to append a div, and we're going to give it a class of YVG video. Okay, like that. Oh, you know what, guys? I forgot to do the loop. We have to actually wrap this stuff in a loop, in a while loop. So let's just go right here and do a while. Okay, we're going to say while videos. Wait a minute. Yeah, okay, so we did the if here to make sure that they have posts, and then we're going to loop through have posts. Okay, just like that, and then in here we have to include videos and then the post, like that, and then we want to grab this stuff and put it in there. Oops. All right. So now we can keep going with this. We're going to need a title. So for that, we're going to append an H4. All right, and then to get that, we can just concatenate here, and we can just say get the title. All right, and then after that, what we're going to do is add the embed code. Okay, so output, and now we need some embed code. So let's go. We'll go back to YouTube, and I'm just going to grab this iframe, paste that in there, and we're going to want to replace this ID. We want to make this dynamic. To do that, we're going to just concatenate, and then we'll say video actually, yeah, we can just do video ID. Okay, so that's going to show whatever that video ID is. And then we also want the details. Okay, so we're going to go right under that. And let's just wrap the details in a div. Just like that. And then finally, I'm just going to put in our ending div for this class right here. Okay, then we're going to do line break, and then we'll do horizontal rule. Okay, so now we're going to go right under this, and this is where we want to reset the post data. We can do that with WP underscore reset post data. And then finally, we want to just return the output. All right. So none of this is going to run unless we add the shortcode. So we're going to do that now. We want to go down at the very bottom. Okay, and then this is going to be add shortcode. And this is the actual text that we want them to have to put in, which is just going to be videos. And then we want to put in our function, which is this. Alright, so we'll save that. Now let's go let's go create a page. Whoops, what's this? Unexpected post per page. Shortcode's line 31. Oh, we don't have a comma here. Simple mistake. Okay, so now we'll go and create a new page, and we'll call this videos, and then we just want to put our shortcode, which is videos. Alright, we'll publish that, and let's add a menu item. Okay, so videos, add to menu, save menu, and then let's go to the front end. Okay, we now have a videos link. Click that, and there we go. We have our video. Let's go ahead and add one more. Okay, so to add it, all we need is the ID.
This is Bot Designer, a tool for building great UIs quickly.
And we can just close that. Whoops, that doesn't go there. That goes there. And let's say node npm. This video shows you how to use npm. And we'll put that in category 2. Publish. And now that should show up. Alright, so now we have that showing up as well. I just want to add a little margin to the bottom here. So if we go to our style CSS and we'll say YVG video class, we're just going to add a margin bottom 20 pixels. Now obviously this doesn't look awesome. If you're going to have a video gallery, you might want to add some CSS. You may want to change the width or whatever. I don't really want to go over the how it looks, just how it functions. Alright, so we can add videos, we can see them in the front end. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to add a settings option that'll prevent us from using full screen. Okay, because right now if we play it, we can go ahead and use full screen. Alright, which is good. That's the default, but we may not want the user to be able to do that. Alright, and to do that, all you need to do is, if we look at the embed code, just get rid of this right here. Alright, but what we want to do is add a setting option for them to do that, and then we can just do a simple if statement. Alright, so we're going to do that in the next video.